What are you staring at?
I'm looking for one of our hobo brothers. His name is Richmond Smithers.
That's not a hobo's name.
I don't know his moniker, just that Richmond's missing his left eye.
Don't go around staring at people while they sleep.
Can you help me?
I don't want to.
If I help you, what's in it for me?
You'd be helping Richmond Smithers get an inheritance?
Well, there's a hobo in camp named Trader. Patch on his eye. Wasn't at the farm today.
Really? Do you know where he was?
Didn't eat at chow. Asked why I wasn't hungry. He said he found a ghost in his pocket.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Looked spooked, though. Just walked off. That's the last I saw of him.
Where was he headed?
Down that way, on the old storehouse down the way.
Huh?
Single gunshot wound to the chest. He likely died quickly.
Any idea around what time he was killed?
No rigor has set in. The body is cold, but this is a cold place. Best guess would be earlier today. I'll take him to the morgue and provide a full report.
Thank you, Miss Hart.
Sir?
Say nothing, Detective.
He made me cuff him.
I didn't do anything, and you're not gonna pin this on me. Uncuff me. No.
You have succeeded in confusing me.
Take me in so we can talk.
Take him in, Henry.
Yes, sir. Come along.
Apologies for the arrest rigmarole. I couldn't bear those hobos thinking I was a fly cop.
Fly cop?
It's what they call an undercover policeman.
Oh, you were hired to find this man?
Yes, Richmond Smithers. But he was going by the name Trader. His aunt died, left him a bit of land. The man taking care of her estate hired a few investigators to seek him out in places where he might have traveled. I suppose I was the lucky one.
I see. Could this inheritance be the reason he was killed?
I don't believe it was of much value, and he had no idea it was coming.
Can you tell me anything else about his death?
I cannot. It's not how I expected the case to conclude, but my work seems to be at an end. I wish you luck. Oh, there was one other thing.
Yes?
One of Trader's companions said he was spooked this morning.
By what?
Apparently, he said he found a ghost in his pocket.
Well, there wasn't anything in his pocket except for this.
How curious.
Perhaps this is his ghost?
It's remarkable workmanship. How much do you want for it?
That's evidence, Mr. Oxley.
What can you tell us about it?
No, not so much. My customers are mostly interested in ancient and international coins. We don't see many of these hobo coins.
Hobo coins?
Yes, they trade them for hot meals, sometimes for money. I have a few here.
Oh. They deface perfectly good coins? Why not simply use them as currency?
It's an art form, I suppose. They like them anyway. A nice one is worth more than the nickel it's made from.
How much?
Well, these ones are all less than $1, but yours could be worth more. It's rather exquisite.
How did they carve them exactly?
Oh, with nails, pocket knives, files.
Really? So, if they carve them in their hands, would they not sometimes slip and cut themselves?
All the time, I imagine.
Right. One last question. Are these ever referred to as ghosts?
Ghosts? No, sir. Can't say I've ever heard such a thing.
There's a certain romance to the hobo life.
Is that right?
No paperwork. Hard labor by day, a company of friends at night, a canopy of stars.
Julia Ogden, as long as I've known you, you have preferred the canopy of a feather bed in a fine hotel.
Yes, well, the accommodations may not be ideal, but...
Soot, campfires, the smell of smoke in your clothes, the cold.
Yes, but the freedom, the total freedom of living life on the rails would be quite a compensation. Planning nothing, answering to no one. See?
We could continue to live here, in this comfortable shelter, and simply get rid of the phone. Detective Murdoch? Yes. Yes, all right. I'll be right there.
The body's just this way, sir, and the woman who found him. There were some hobos gathered around when I got here, but they scattered.
And who's the woman?
Gert Dotson, sir. She's a waitress at Arlo's place, a tavern.
Detective Murdoch. Miss
Dotson. Gert Dotson.
How did you come to find the victim?
Fernie. That's what all the fellas call him. I was coming back to the tavern from the bakery when I found him. Everyone knows the hobos come here.
Then why do they come here?
I feed them. Been doing it for years. Anything that might get thrown out from the tavern, plus leftovers from a few other places. I can't stand waste. Not when some are going hungry.
Of course. Did you happen to see this man earlier this evening?
No. He must have come here and eaten and then run into whoever killed him.
So he didn't come inside your tavern earlier?
Mr. Arlo doesn't abide having the hobos inside, so he has me leave the food out back. Really, I'm supposed to be at work right now, Detective.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Miss Dotson. Henry. I'd wager the bullet that killed this man will be a match for the one that killed our first victim.
What's that, sir?
Appears to be another ghost. Henry, this is the same symbol that we found carved above Trader's body.
What's it a symbol of?
I have no idea. Look.
Another one. Appears to be an arrow.
Perhaps it was to lead someone here. Constables were searching all night and into the morning. They found over a dozen of these symbols.
Do we know what they mean?
No. They seem to be a language of some sort. A sequence of signs carved into fences, posts, leading from the railway camp to a tavern that serves people food.
So it's a code, directions to a meal or what have you, but only the hobos are aware of it.
Precisely. Some of the signs are newer and drawn in chalk.
And you think those led the victim to his death?
Well, sir, I found one similar to this at the first crime scene. It had been carved into a post just above the victim's body.
So two men lured to their deaths with whatever this is.
Both in possession of the same odd coin, and the bullets that killed them are a match. I believe we have a sequential killer on our hands.
One who's targeting these men who ride the rails? What on earth for?
Easy to target. No families to miss them.
But the killer used these symbols, known only to hobos.
Perhaps the killer's a hobo himself?
Yes, George.
So what do we do now?
We need help. And I know just the person to ask. Thought I might find you here.
The city streets are my true office, but this is a warmer place to conduct business.
Of course.
Hobo signs. They're code. Where did you come across these?
At both murder scenes,
There's been a second killing?
another hobo.
The arrow with the circle, well, it's obvious. Follow the arrow. And the circle with the line, that means turn left here. But this one.
Sunrise.
I see a sunset. I haven't come across it.
It was drawn above both victims.
If that's so, then your killer is no interloper like myself. This man is very familiar with the patterns of stiffs.
Of what?
Stiffs. Bindle stiffs. It's another term for hobo. Though I'm loath to admit it, your killer may be a hobo himself.
Oh. And your hobo name? What is it?
Oh, we say moniker in the life. Mine was Curly.
And that's the only name you're known by? No one has guessed yet that you're not a hobo?
Please. I've played my part perfectly, detective.
Of course, of course. So they likely still believe that you're one of them. May even think that Henry and I simply tossed you in jail for a couple of nights.
I suppose. What are you getting at?
Go back to their camp, Watts. Live among the hobos, learn what you can.
While there's a killer at large murdering hobos at a rapid pace, you wish for me to don the guise of one of his potential victims?
If you don't, more may die.
I'm not a copper anymore. I'm a private detective with a full caseload. I must refuse.
Watts, we are at a dead end here. No one will speak to us. All we have for clues are these symbols and coins. If not you, then I'll be forced to send someone else in undercover. Someone without your expertise.
Yes, and I wish him the best of luck.
I don't like this plan.
I don't either, sir. But if we do nothing, we could be allowing a killer to strike again.
One of my men in unnecessary danger.
Necessary danger. This killer must be stopped. If we are diligent, we can minimize the risk.
Oh, my God. It looks like a lamb to the slaughter.
Pillow, George?
Yes, sir. I need my own pillow to sleep. Who's to say hobos don't travel with pillows? I'm sure some of them do.
I won't allow this. You'll be in too much danger.
He's right. Pillow aside, the knees of your trousers are unworn. Your boots look like they were shined this morning. Your hat looks like it was purchased 5 minutes ago.
The hat was purchased 5 minutes ago.
Oh, and George, your head. Your hands, George. They're smooth as a baby's.
All right.
I thought you were dead set against helping our investigation, Watts.
No, I realized someone else who you'd send in to pose as a hobo would likely be Henry or George. Henry is already known to some of the hobos from his arrest of yours truly, meaning George would be sent alone into a world he is not equipped to navigate.
So you'll do it?
Yes.
Oh, thank goodness. What? I was not looking forward to it.
I'm not about to go in alone, George. There's a hobo killer out there.
Good thinking. 2 will be safer than 1.
Have you seen all these men?
3 or 4 are new to me. These chaps are nothing if not nomadic.
Watts?
It's Curly. We may be in the company of a murderer. If you slip up at the wrong moment, George. In fact, you need a moniker.
Slick. Try calling me Slick.
Interesting choice.
I quite like it.
Of course you do. You're the one who chose it. Now, follow my lead. I have an idea of how we can ask our new compatriots what this symbol means without arousing suspicion. This one's easy enough. Means bread.
Doesn't look much like bread.
Oh, well, train your eye, man. This one. Seat, table, means sit down, feed.
Oh, you don't draw too good.
Better with chalk or a knife.
Cops pinched you, Curly.
Didn't think I would see you again. They had nothing on me, so they couldn't hold me. I'd never laid eyes on Trader until he was already dead, poor fellow.
Carvers don't need much of an excuse to put a man in jail.
Yeah, most of the ones I met are actually quite reasonable.
No, that's because Slick here is new to life on the rails. I'm showing him the ropes, starting with this little lesson on the code.
Slick, huh? You choose that name yourself?
Yes?
It's wrong. You know, Slick. Scarecrow. It's a name for you.
Scarecrow?
I'm Pasty. Scarecrow. This here's Hitch. And there's Mutt over there, Sleepy Joe. You meet everyone if you stick around long enough. Now, this sign, you can sleep in the loft. This one here means get out fast.
Say, Scarecrow, I'd get out of this life fast if I were you. You're city soft. Too old to be getting started.
I'm sure plenty of chaps have picked up the hobo life at my age.
No, you're looking a little soft, though. But then again, Gentleman Jones was as rich as they come. And he turned out to be a legend. Toronto boy, too. I actually know a song about him.
Look at him, boys. We're gonna be here in 5 minutes.
Wait, do you fellows know the meaning of this sign?
Where'd you see that?
Can't quite remember.
Some codes only pop up in little corners of the world. Might mean something to hobo riding down south or one coming up north. But in my 10 years of beating trains, never seen this one.
You're going to have to come back later. No, look, I don't have time for this. Now, please be on your way. Sir, get out of the road or I'll haul you in for public drunkenness. Oh, now you're absolutely being arrested. Come here.
Oh, God. Give it a rest, Pasty. We're tired. We just want to eat.
Just a little tune while the crumb boss gets dinner together. I promise you'll love this one, boys. I promise you.
Crumb boss means the camp cook.
Yes, I guessed as much.
There was a noble hobo Toronto born, a free life just like ours.
Sounds like pigeons in combat.
He's no Caruso, but the tune's not bad.
Pasty's still a suspect. He did know where Trader went off to be murdered. Perhaps he did it himself.
His faithful kid, broken-hearted, set off for the gent's home to be close to his grave forevermore and to be with Gentleman Jones. Huh? Huh?
You weren't listening to me at all, were you?
So I'm looking at his hands. Look at his scars. Those are the kind of cuts a hobo could get from carving coins. He could be our man.
If Pasty put those ghost coins in the pockets of our victims, that could be.
Another dead man, another coin.
Yes, sir. A Lachlan Murphy, a carpenter. Opened his own small concern about 2 years ago, mostly worked in the West End of Toronto.
So is it the same killer?
Well, sir, the bullet we recovered from his body is a match for the other 2 bullets recovered from the 2 deceased hobos.
Why would our killer switch from hobos to carpenters?
There has to be some connection.
Sirs?
Henry, were you able to track down Mr. Murphy's employees?
I was. They said Mr. Murphy went into his apron for a ruler, came out with that coin. He stared at it, went pale, and then left.
Went pale. As if he'd seen a ghost.
Bloody hell.
We liked your song, Pasty.
Those are stiffs are tone deaf.
Couldn't help seeing your hands, Pasty. Make it hard to play?
Scars? No.
They look nasty. How'd you get them? You have hobo coins.
I don't just have them, I make them.
The Scarecrow was first attracted to the life of a hobo as a collector of those.
So have yours, Scarecrow?
You got one prize piece.
Where'd you get this?
Just picked it up.
No one drops a thing of beauty like this. All this detail. I need it.
Well, Scarecrow's quite attached to it.
Okay, how about a trade? You know that symbol he was asking about?
The sunset?
It's no sunset. It's a tombstone. It means there's a long, quiet sleep to be had in a place.
Why didn't you tell us about that before?
One of the others told me after you left.
Which one?
Mott, Hitch, one of them. They use it all the time down in Nebraska.
Nebraska?
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you. Give me the coin. This is a trade.
I didn't agree to any trade.
Pasty, you know there was no trade, don't you?
Good gracious. Why do you think you wanted that coin so bad?
Because he made it, perhaps? I don't know. Just now I'm thinking about Nebraska.
Why?
Nebraska is where Trader, the first victim, grew up. Whoever knew that sign was from Nebraska and taught it to Pasty has a piece of this puzzle.
Unless Pasty didn't just learn it from someone else.
What?
Maybe he's lying to us. Maybe he knew what that meant all along.
What?
He's clearly got a bit of a temper and an ugly way of driving a bargain.
Whether it was Pasty or one of the other hobos who knew that symbol, that person could be our killer.
So this latest victim was writing his memoirs.
Mr. Murphy worked as a carpenter here in Toronto for the past 10 years, but before that, traveled the land as a hobo. This is a record of his adventures.
So there's your connection. Why did he decide to settle down?
Mr. Murphy didn't write that far, but he did insert this article at the back of the book.
The death of Gentleman Jones.
A hero in the hobo community. Wallace Jones was his real name, from right here in Toronto. Turned his back on the family fortune in favor of a life on the rails.
Now that's romantic, William.
Fell to his death out of a rail car going through Nebraska 10 years ago.
Must you spoil everything?
Well, I'm sorry, but it's the truth, Julia.
So you say this carpenter moved to Toronto 10 years ago?
Yes.
Around the same time that Gentleman Jones met his end?
Perhaps he knew the man. Or also read of Mr. Jones' accident in the newspaper. In any case, he decided on a more secure life.
Oh! When she starts to walk, I don't know what we're going to do.
There's always the tether.
We are not putting our child on a leash, William.
Oh.
What is it?
This photograph of Jones. And look at this coin. That's him.
Pasty might be our coin maker, which might make him our killer.
We should talk to the other men about Pasty in the morning. Find out everything we can.
You're right. But we must be more vigilant than ever.
We'll sleep in shifts.
Agreed.
I can't doze off out here anyway. I'll take first watch.
All right.
Hey! Get off me! What? Curly! It's it!
You were gonna plant this on me and unplug me! Get off me! He's doing almost a homo killer!
Wait a minute, he's still got the gun!
We still have to get him!
Well, we've hopped our first train.
The wrong car of our first train.
Well, Hitch has to be our killer. The bullets from the victims will match that gun of his.
Oh, we can't get to his car until the train stops. It may be waiting for us. With this gun.
Watts? We're not alone.
Pasty, my friend and I came here to help you.
Doesn't seem that way.
You're in danger. We all are.
Who's to say you two aren't the one killing our kind, huh?
We're here to find the killer. Hitch killed Fernie and Trader, not us.
I've known Hitch 5 years. Never known him to kill anybody.
No hobo around here has ever seen you two before.
Did you know that Hitch carried a gun? Perhaps the same kind of gun used to murder your friends.
No?
So what do you want to do now? Throw us off the train?
Gentlemen don't want or need suggestions, George, please.
There's no stop here.
The bulls are coming.
Bulls? What, like the animals?
No, George. Not the animals.
This all could have been his. Gentleman Jones was the eldest brother, you know.
No, thank you. You don't refer to him as Wallace?
No, he preferred to leave his old name behind. He only came through Toronto a few times after first leaving. He loved the wandering life. I still miss him.
Does this symbol mean anything to you?
It looks like a sunrise to me. Why?
No matter. Mr. Jones, did your brother have any secrets before he died? Was he hiding anything?
No. Gentleman Jones was an open book. Although not everyone believes that his death was an accident.
How do you mean?
Well, it's hard to believe that he simply fell off a train after 20 years of life on the rails. The papers believed it. I wanted to.
But his hobo friends didn't?
No. Well, one in particular, at least. The gent's partner. He told me that my brother had been murdered.
He had a partner?
My brother told me about him. Called him the Kid. Said that they traveled most places together, that he was never lonely.
So this partner wasn't with him when he died?
No, he wrote to me. Said that they had parted ways for a couple of weeks, and that's when my brother was killed.
Oh. Do you have any idea what might have motivated someone to murder him?
Well, there was a rumor that he traveled with cash stitched to the inside of his coat. And the Kid told me that the coat had been slit open when the body was found.
You didn't see the body?
Well, not the clothes. He's buried in the family plot. I had him brought up from Nebraska in a fresh suit.
Did this Kid mention anything else about the murder?
The way the Kid put it, they came up to him while he was sleeping on the train and cut his coat open, and when they couldn't find anything, they threw him off like he was nothing.
Did he happen to say who they might be?
Said that there were 4 men that did it, that he didn't know their names, but when he did, he'd do the right thing.
Meaning he would seek revenge?
Has anyone been killed, Detective?
I'm sorry to say that they have, yes. 3 men.
It's a terrible thing. It's the last thing my brother would have wanted.
Stealing a ride in broad daylight.
Put the foot splitters down! Let's have a fair fight!
Now, why would we want a fair fight?
Now, listen.
Watts, we've got to get up to Hitch's car.
Going too fast to jump.
Scarecrow, we'll have to wait until the next stop, George. Gentlemen, are we?
Anyone who will deck a railway bull is friend as far as I'm concerned.
3 dead men. If what Owen Jones says is correct, 4 men participated in the murder of Gentleman Jones. meaning there's still potentially one victim out there.
And if he is correct, each of these victims could be a murderer himself.
Yes, well, sir, their guilt or innocence is hardly the point at this time. We need to stop whoever's doing this.
This hobo partner that Gentleman Jones had, you think he's our killer?
Yes. He went by the Kid, but there's no saying he still does now.
Well, 10 years is long enough to be a kid no longer, Murdoch. We need to tell Crabtreem and Wattsa.
Let's hope they've discovered something to help us solve this case before there's a fourth victim.
Out. Get out. What? Are you all right?
All right.
Should we try to surprise Hitch?
Either he suspects we hopped the train and is lying in wait, or he'll be so startled he'll start shooting. Surprise is a bad idea.
Right. Hitch! Don't make things worse for yourself. We mean you no harm. So, don't shoot us. We just want to talk. And don't shoot us. Hitch. Hitch. My God, he's dead. Hitch and another hobo, Sleepy Joe, got on the train car together.
And yet Sleepy Joe was nowhere to be seen when we found the body.
You suspect he's the killer?
He killed Hitch when he boarded, placed another coin on him, and escaped while we were fighting off the railroad bulls. George and I thought we were chasing the killer, but we were chasing the victim.
His last victim, according to what you said, sir.
So, Sleepy Joe and the Kid, the noble hobo Gentleman Jones's partner, could be one and the same. If I'm right, the Kid grew up, as it were, to become Sleepy Joe.
And by now, Sleepy Joe could be halfway to Florida on a train.
So why did you call Gentleman Jones a noble hobo?
He was referred to as such in the article about his death.
Noble hobo rings a bell.
I've made quite a muddle of this, Detective. I'm not sure the constabulary made a very good choice in their selection of a private detective.
Nonsense, Watts. You didn't have enough information or time. When Sleepy Joe saw you with that coin, he knew that we were closing in. He needed to finish his killer's task and leave town that very night.
The song.
What?
Pasty's song. That was about a noble hobo, Toronto-born. Weren't you listening?
I was doing everything in my power not to.
Well, I wonder if I could remember some of the words. It went something like, it had no feather bed, just a blanket made of stars. And he...
Why does it matter?
The song could be about Jones.
His faithful kid, broken-hearted, went off to the something to stay by his grave forevermore. And that's the something of something.
Oh, my goodness, George. That's about the killing of Gentleman Jones and...
The Kid.
Well, unless it's just a song.
No. George, the gent's brother had his body transported back here to Toronto for burial, which means...
If the Kid, Sleepy Joe, wanted to be close to his grave, he wouldn't hitch out of town even with his task finished.
He'd have stayed in Toronto.
When did Gentleman Jones die?
10 years ago.
Then our man may have lived here ever since, possibly not riding the rails much at all.
Well, perhaps he's been living on the streets. Or has re-entered society, much like the late Mr. Murphy.
But still with a strong connection to the hobo world.
How do you figure?
Otherwise, how would he know his intended victims were in Toronto? Aside from the carpenter, they were all just passing through.
In any case, our killer, Sleepy Joe, could still be here in Toronto, which means we have the opportunity to capture him.
How on earth will we find him?
We draw him out, using the one thing we know he wants.
Revenge. If we can get word out that the Kid's vengeance is incomplete, we can trap him.
Yes. How do you propose we do that?
With help. Pasty. I have a proposal for you.
If it's about anything but a feather bed or a hot drink, I'm too tired to be interested.
This is downright delicious. Where's the wine?
We need you to be alert for this, Mr. Pasty.
We must bring this killer to justice. For that, we'll need you.
I don't help coppers.
You would be helping hobos, letting people know that they can't simply kill you with impunity.
We just want you to spread a rumor that Hitch survived the shooting and is laid up in a clinic.
Hitch is alive?
What? Oh, no, I'm sorry, Pasty. Hitch is indeed dead.
We're asking you to spread a falsehood.
No visitors at the clinic allowed, you'll say, but if anyone wants to smuggle Hitch a bottle of hooch, leave it on the step at night. There are code signs leading from camp to the door of the clinic.
What's the angle?
If the killer believes Hitch is still alive, then...
The killer will come back to finish the job, and we'll be waiting. Sign for free doctor.
Free doctor. Okay.
Wait, face goes on the other side.
What?
You're holding it upside down.
Well, you passed it to me upside down. I hope this works.
It's our only chance. Do you really think the face should be smiling?
Oh, for Pete. No, I suppose not. Good enough?
Good enough.
Sir, do you think word has gotten out?
If I'm not mistaken, George, those clinking sounds were offerings of alcohol from other members of the hobo community. Word has gotten out. Did you...
Grab him, George! Oh, my goodness. Oh, gracious, I'm sorry, miss.
Miss Dodson, what are you doing here?
I should ask you what you think you're doing. Manhandling me like that. And you! Wearing Hitch's hat like some sort of ghoul. You ought to be ashamed.
To repeat the detective's question, Miss Dodson, what brings you here?
Well, I was bringing some food to the men, and they said Hitch was laid up here, so I simply wanted to give him my best, and these victuals.
That's still edible.
Miss Dodson, your hands.
Did you get those scars as a tavern waitress, Miss Dodson?
Or carving hobo coins?
Back away. Not you. You. Stand in front of me. Come on. Back up. Keep that gun pressed right in your spine.
It's you. You're Sleepy Joe, aren't you? What's good?
Keep doing all ones, they're homo killers!
You followed Hitch and you killed him. Shut up.
Miss Dodson, this is a police constable. He had nothing to do with your partner's death.
My husband. We might not have been married in a church, but Gentleman Jones was my husband. And I know he wouldn't want me looking for revenge, so I did my best all these years to forget what those men did to him.
Yes, and stop this. Don't make it worse.
I did what he'd want for years. I stayed close to his grave so he'd never get lonely. And I fed every hobo that ever came asking. Now back up. You two keep still. They killed him for nothing, you know. Those men cut open his coat and found not a cent. And then they had the gall to come into my town, into his town. It was too much.
You all right, George?
Yes.
I'm not gonna die in one of your prisons!
Well, at least you'll have a warm place to sleep for the next while.
Does the owner keep this booth for you every day, then?
No, certainly not. I don't even think he likes me very much. Though I surely pay my table's rent in coffee and sandwiches.
Must be nice, though, Watts. Not to be tied to the station house every day.
Has your flirtation with hobo life caused you to consider early retirement, George?
No. I prefer to sleep under my own roof with Effie, but it must feel good to have that sense of freedom.
What feels good is this.
How so?
George, I've been blown about like a leaf by my doubts, my travels, and my heart these past years. It feels, I must say, quite wonderful to be right here.
In the diner?
In Toronto.
Oh,
with you and everyone else. In a place that I can call home.
Oh, I long to travel again, William. With my husband. Do you think we ever will?
I do.
Well, I didn't mean at this very moment.
In the meantime...
Oh, my. Is that us?
It certainly is. It's a tiny little Dr. Ogden and Susanna and a tiny me.
You're very tall.
It's all I could find. Our days of exploring the world are not over, Julia. They've just been delayed.